I think that I am live. Oh my God. Okay, let's see. Okay, I know there's some people probably waiting on the live that I've scheduled for today, but for some reason I was not able to get that particular live started. So I'm starting a new one. Um, if you're watching this from the future, hi, my name is Sam. I am the host of the Black Woman Build Wealth YouTube channel. This is my first live, if you can tell. This is my first live, and I'm super excited about it, but I need to look into the technology because we are not friends right now. And the reason why I decided to do this live is because today a lot of people are hurting in terms of inflation, in terms of how much they're paying for things, and specifically their housing. So, the title of this live, I hope you are seeing it, it's essentially how to keep your housing cost low. Oh, hi, Music Fever. You made it to this live. So, if you were on the old one, sorry, I couldn't get it started. I had to create a brand new one with the same title. I'm going to fix the little thing later, but thank you for being here. I hope that for whomever is waiting on the other live, that they will find a way to come here. But I wanted to do this live today because I'm also in the same basket with you guys in terms of housing. Housing usually will be the biggest part of your budget, like your biggest expense. For most people, that's the majority of where the money will go to. And it's really important that we find ways to keep the cost low. So I have my list here that I'm going to go through. Of course, if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm on my mobile. I'm seeing the comments. I hope that I'm not missing any so far. But I want to make sure in case I miss any comment on the live, please take some time to put the comment on the video when it is posted. And again, I thank you for your patience with me as I'm going through this new era of my channel of actually going live. Hi, Natural LID. Hi. So happy to see you here. And so let's get started. The first thing that you can do to actually keep your housing costs low is house hacking. And if you have never heard of that term, let me tell you what that means. So, most of the time, we either renting or we own the place that we are living in. And so the idea behind house hacking is to find ways to not be the only one paying for the housing cost. So of course, if you're in a couple, you guys sharing the load. If you are single, you probably only having the load by yourself. So the idea is like, what can you do to actually reduce your housing costs? So house hacking while you're actually living in the house. So there are different things that you can do. Let's say you are living in a three-bedroom house, but you're a single person. So you're only using one room or maybe two rooms, one for your bedrooms and the other one as an office. So you have a third one that you may be keeping for guests, but that third one most of the time is empty. That's money that you're leaving there sitting that that you can actually be collecting. If you don't want long-term tenants for that particular room, you may uh, rent the room short term. You can put it on Airbnb or like rent it to traveling nurses. There are so many things you can do short term in case you don't want to have someone living there long term. So someone living there long term is definitely more stable for you if you don't want people to be coming in and out your place. But if you feel like you need a third room time and time, time to time for maybe your family visiting, your friends visiting, In that case, you might want to rent it short term. So that's an idea. Same thing. If maybe your basement is, self-contained, can be also a room, you can turn it into a room. That's also something that you can rent short term or long term. And so that person will pay some money to you, whether you want it to be all included or not including the utilities, but at least you get some extra money to help with your housing cost. So most of the time when people talk about house hacking, that's what they actually refer to. And if you remember, two of my earlier interviews this year, I interviewed Evelyn and I interviewed Natasha as well. Actually, Evelyn and Sarah. The two of them were actually Evelyn is still doing it. So what she's doing is essentially buying what you can they call a half duplex in Edmonton, Alberta, here in Canada. So she buys half duplexes. She lives in one unit, and the other unit she Airbnbs it. So that's a way of house hacking. Sarah, what she was doing when she was renting is that she will have a contract in place with the landlord, so the landlord will lease the place to her, but her as a tenant, she will kind of like rent a two-bedroom when she really needs a one-bedroom. And then the second bedroom, she will actually Airbnb it, but she will let her landlord know. So make sure if you are renting, they call it rent arbitrage. So it's a form of house hacking because you don't really own the place, you're renting the place. So it's a rent arbitrage. Make sure that you actually let the landlord know because the landlord, you will have an insurance in place for the place that they're renting to you. You don't want to put them in some sort of like sticky spot because you're actually Airbnb their place, and maybe their insurance doesn't know that and something happens in the place, and then the insurance company will say we don't cover it because that's not something that you were supposed to do. But there are a lot of landlords out there who are completely fine with it, especially in cities that do not allow landlords for some reason to Airbnb their place. This is a bit of it's not like it's more like uh, a workaround because they end up leasing the place to someone, but that person as a tenant is not tied to the city laws because they don't own the place. So technically, they can rent the place to whomever they want as long as their landlord is aware. So that's what Sarah was doing, and so that was a way for her to get into real estate investing. So that's another topic for another day. But that's house hacking. Other ways that you can house hack as well. You have to know, right, that your house is an asset. It's an asset, whether you're renting it or you own it. But I'm going to focus on when you own the place because that's where you have the most flexibility. You get to make the decisions yourself. I have a good friend of mine, him and his wife, they live in the outskirts of Ottawa, and they have an amazing, it's kind of like a cottage slash house, but they have beach access. So summertime, it's just amazing to go to their place. They have a big backyard and they have beach access. So you can have a barbecue and then just like hop, in a little boat and go on the water. You can just go paddleboarding, all of those things. And so one thing that he's looking at right now is actually to rent the beach access during summertime because that's really premium here in Ottawa. Everybody who has a cottage, they get additional friends because people want to go to the cottage and essentially find a way to have access to the beach one way or the other. So he's taking, next summer to find a way, some sort of like a package, maybe on a Saturday or on a Sunday, people can come with their friends, use his backyard for their party, and then have access to the beach right there. Music fever. So rent arbitrage. Interesting. I heard about this before, but really appreciate the details you're providing here. You are very welcome. Yes, this is something that definitely is not as known, but I do believe that there is value in looking into it, especially in this time that we are living in an inflationary period. So that's the thing. My friend is actually thinking of renting his beach access. That's the house hacking right there. I do have also among my financial independence community another person who lives more in also in the country, and so they have also a big house, and their roof is huge, and they were approached by a company that needed to install solar panel for some work, and they looked into it. They had everything vetted by a lawyer. So now she's renting her roof to that company. The company installed the solar panels. They're responsible for the maintenance of it, for everything that that is in regard to the solar panel and all that. But she's making a whopping $20,000 a year just renting her roof. Can you imagine? So, I mean, her inside, that doesn't change anything to her life. I don't think that changed anything to her life. But just that she can, the fact that that company was able to leverage her roof, the roof is there, right? She's already paying for the house. Actually, her house is paid off. So that's actually gravy for her. She doesn't really have any mortgage payment, nothing, but that's actually gravy for her in terms of money that she's actually getting from her house. So that's like an additional $20,000 just from her and her husband owning the house. And the other thing that I've also mentioned is in terms of house hacking. No, I haven't mentioned that one, but that's pool. So again, here in Ottawa, summertime, everybody wants to be close to the water, like a river, like just to the water. And if you can't, at least if you can have access to a pool, people really love that. And there are people in their house, they have amazing pool, like not even like those pool out out above ground, like really pool in the ground, like well done and everything. And those people also they do rent their pools, so you can have a pool party at someone's place. So that person is renting their pool to you, and of course the backyard and that comes with it, and giving you access to the bathroom in the house. And you can do that, one day you just go. And so to me it's mind boggling because when you start looking into it and you're like, this is my asset, this is what I have available to me right now. What exactly can I uh, leverage in this house that's going to be bringing money to me? I used to rent my driveway. So I have a one car garage at my place, and I always park my car in the garage. And at one point, I was just like, this driveway is sitting here. Nobody is really parking on it. And anyway, at the same time, I was approached by the neighbor's son who asked me, he's like, I see that, you don't have another car and your driveway is usually empty. Would you mind if I actually park in front of your driveway and, at least, you can let me know in case you're leaving before me for work and all of those things. And I was just like, perfect. It wasn't like a big amount of money, but again, it's another way that, you can get a little bit of change in this case toward your housing cost. But definitely the biggest way, I mean, I guess like the the way that you can do it to bring the most money is definitely finding a way to share a portion of your house, whether it is a room or like your basement, anything that you can really that you're not using right now in the house. So that's house hacking. Again, uh, that's for you owning. But like I said, my friend Evelyn that I've interviewed here, and if you haven't watched interview yet, I strongly suggest you to go back to it because she's killing it. She's actually building her own real estate empire by actually doing that one property at a time. And so her strategy is essentially buying two units, living in one unit and renting the other one. You can rent it long term, but she's renting it short term, which to her is more lucrative, and at the same time you don't get stuck with just the same tenant for many years, making it harder for you to adjust your rent or whatnot. You could do it also by buying a triplex, which is 3 unit or fourplex. It's up to you, depending on what's your capacity and what you can handle. But at the end of the day, when it comes to house hacking, I personally think it's one of the best ways to actually keep your housing cost low. So do that exercise. If you own and you're looking at your housing cost, for me, because I'm on a variable rate, and if you live in North America, we know what happened to the rates in the past year and a half. They triple, quadruple. So my payments today is nothing, it doesn't look like nothing. I mean, it's much more compared to what I was paying in, a year and a half ago. So, I'm feeling the hurt, and definitely it's something that I'm going through right now, looking at my place and be like, what exactly can I do to actually keep my housing cost low? So that's that. That's the first thing, house hacking. The second thing you can do that I love as well, and probably that I'm going to do in the future, is geographical arbitrage. And if you have never heard that term, let me tell you what it is. What it is essentially if you are not tied up to a certain location, you have that ability to live somewhere where the cost of living is low. Let me give you an example. I currently live in Ottawa, Ontario, in Canada. If you know anything about Ottawa, other than it's the capital city of Canada, Ottawa is across from the bridge from the province of Quebec and from Gatineau, the city of Gatineau in the province of Quebec. In terms of housing, housing is much cheaper in Quebec versus in Ontario. So you have a lot of people living in Gatineau on the Quebec side and maybe crossing the bridge to come work in Ontario or vice versa. But more people will be living in Quebec and then coming to Ottawa to work and then going back to Quebec at the end of the day. Why do they do that? Mainly because of housing. Housing is much cheaper on the Quebec side versus on the Ontario side. That is a form of geographical arbitrage because they did not tie themselves to the fact that their work location was in Ontario to say, I have to find a house here in Ontario, but they were able to go to Gatineau because of the proximity of the two provinces. Agree that maybe that's not your case. You know, you don't have another province or another state near you that you can actually go to. However, that's just to give you an example in this day and age, especially after what we went through 2020, 2021, a lot of people right now are working remote, whether it is remote in the sense that they don't have to be in the same city or in the same state or province, or that they don't even have to be in the same country where their work is located. So that gives them an amazing edge when it comes to housing. And I'm pretty sure you have heard of those digital nomads that we just hearing so much of right now, mainly in the tech sector, making a lot of money but living in low cost of living countries like Vietnam or Thailand or Malaysia or like in Latin America, and by them just creating that gap between how much they earn and how much they have to spend on their housing, they're killing it in terms of money. I'm hoping that they investing, they're making good use of that money that they actually saving by living in a low cost of living city, but that's a form of geographical arbitrage. So it's for you really to look at it and be like, okay, well, I live in this city, my work is here. Is there any way that I can maybe uh, move to another city, maybe in the same state or province that is a bit cheaper if your work allows you to work remote? Or it may also be an opportunity for you to look for another job. Who knows, right? Because it all depends where you're living. But that's definitely something that sometimes people don't think of, the geographical arbitrage. But it's really to keep in mind that you don't have to be in the same city where your work is located. It's definitely convenient. Your work or your family, it is convenient. However, when you think about it, when you look at your money, how much you are making and how much you're pouring into your housing, you may want to think of moving a bit farther from your job or a bit farther from your family, so you can actually save some coins. Um, the next thing that I have for you today when it comes to keeping your housing costs low is live with family. Yay! Okay, so I'm gonna put a caveat to this because I feel like, today everybody wants to have their own place, do their own thing, and there is nothing wrong to that. There is nothing wrong to that. However, listen, if you're living in the same city that your parents are in, and you guys are cool, and they have space, and they're more than happy to have you, why is it so important for you to be paying 1,000, 1,500, or 2,000, into a rent just because you want to have your own place? I'm not saying that you have to live with your parents forever. However, for a certain period of time, maybe for you to pay down debt, for you to set up your emergency fund, or like save for to buy a house, save to travel, you have that flexibility available to you. Nobody is gonna give you, you're not gonna get uh, like something like a gift just because you're paying for your own place. If it's okay for you, if it's fine, and I'm saying parents, but it could be also siblings or like cousin or like, if you don't have any problem with Uncle Tolu, fine, go live with Uncle Tolu, and Uncle Tolu is fine with having you over, because most of the time he's by himself, and just having you in the house will be good. He gets to talk with someone. He can talk to you about his stories, and you guys get along perfectly. And he has the space, and he's happy to have you. He's not gonna charge you, or even if he charge you, it will be mainly for groceries or anything like that. Jump on it. Jump on it. It's coming from someone who didn't have that opportunity. So to me, I'm feeling like, being able to have that opportunity to have access to family or maybe close friends who are really fine, to actually live, you find to live together. It's all come down to you being okay living with family, right? So, and I know it's a big topic, but definitely if you have that opportunity, take it, right? So again, I'm not gonna say more on that. It's a touchy subject, but I do believe that it's definitely a way to keep housing costs low. Um, Natural LID. I agree. Living with family can be more economical. Oh yes, you can save on expenses, build wealth together. Yeah. Listen, I've heard of people like their mom do the laundry for them, help them with like expenses. They can use the family car. There's so many advantages. And again, I know it all comes to how you get along with your family. And I'm not saying that you absolutely need to run back to your family and for that. However, it's just a matter of looking at it and be like, listen, right now things are super expensive. Housing is out, through the roof. Maybe your landlord is increasing your rent to a level that you like, I can't do this. You don't have to be staying there. If you have the opportunity to talk to mom and dad, talk to family, and move in with them, even for a certain period of time, that will do you very good to your finances. So that's that. And the last thing that I had here for you to keep housing low, um, again, it's you when you go to the bank, especially this day and age, and then you're like, okay, how much can I? You want to buy a house? How much can I buy a house for? And then the bank's like, oh, we can approve you up to $500,000. Most people, most people, not everybody, but the majority of people will tend to absolutely want to max that amount. So buy a house that once they put their down payment down, the bank will give them a loan close to 500,000. Let me tell you, you do not have to do that because the bank, they're nice, they're super nice, and they're also for profits. Okay? So by them telling you, dear, I can give you up to $500,000 loan if you buy a house, is them telling you, and I'll be also happy to charge you interest for 30, 35 years that you're going to be, uh, you know, owing that loan to me. I'll be happy to do that. You don't have to go to the maximum of 500,000. So another way to keep your housing costs low is be okay to buy smaller than you need. You do not have to buy the three-bedroom house if you find in a one-bedroom condo. You do not have to. That, I'm hoping that you know that the the size of your house is not correlated to your value, to your worth, nothing. If anything, if you can really be smart about making sure that you don't buy more than you need, that's going to serve you so much more. You're gonna have more money for fun, to travel, to do everything that you want to do for hobby, or like to invest for your retirement and all of those things. And on top of that, the bigger the house, the more expenses you're going to have. Because it's not a matter of if something breaks down in the house, it's a matter of when. And the bigger the house is, like, cars. The more expensive they are, the more expensive they are to buy, the more expensive they are to maintain, right? Same thing for the house. So do yourself a favor. Say thank you to the bank. Turn around. Take the time to really think of what you want the house to provide to you. And if you can find anything in the sense that after you put your down payment, you only need $200,000 from the bank, go for it. Go for it. You do not have to go to the maximum. I've seen so many people. Oh well, and I used to work for the bank, right? I used to be the one. They're like, oh, I can approve you up to $500,000. And most of the time, I'm serious here. Most of the time, people will come back and they have an offer, a house that they're looking at, and most of the time, the loan is around how much I say that I could provide that. And I don't know them, but chances are they might not need that. They could have been pretty fine with something smaller. And we don't think about it when the rates are low, but in this inflationary period, people are hurting because they bought much more that they needed. And it's harder for you to downsize once you have that beautiful three-bedroom with a nice backyard and all of those things, and all of your friends are saying, hey, rah, 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 you did the good thing. It's much harder for you to downsize than to upgrade. And you know, you know money much more than anybody. You know how much you can handle. At the end of the day, you are the one who's going to be paying for things. And like I say, housing cost is the most expense you have on your budget. So if you buy smaller, you have smaller expenses and it's much better. Even when the rates are increasing, you do not have you don't feel the pain that much. So there you have it. That's what I wanted to share with you today in terms of ways that you can actually keep your housing costs low. And if there are any other ways that maybe you are thinking of right now, and you're with me here in this live, please feel free to drop it in the comment section. And of course, if you are watching this in the future, again, put hashtag replay, share with me what are these ways that I've shared with you that you have already done, that you're considering doing, and what have you done? What else have you done to actually keep your housing costs low? One thing that I realize is North America, we put a strong emphasis on people owning houses. And I do believe home ownership is not for everybody. And I'm not saying that because I own my house, so it's good and I'm telling people not to buy houses. Buying a house, it's a lifestyle choice. You have to realize that essentially once you buy a house, there's certain things that maybe you might not be able to do as easily. Once you own the house, you can just pick up and leave, right? If you're renting, you give your notice to your landlord and then you go. But once you own a house, it's much harder. And when the housing costs are increasing, you feel it more than someone who's actually renting. Because someone who's renting, their rent amount is the maximum that they are paying. Regardless what's happening to the place, that's the maximum that they are paying. But someone is owning a place, your mortgage payment and utility and all of those things, when things are good, that's the minimum. That is the minimum. So when rates are increasing and water, electricity is increasing, you don't know how high that can go, and you have to be ready to really handle it, right? So let's see here some comments that I'm having. Oh, hi Sandra. Sandra, she's on a platform from Like to Legacy. I'm happy that you were able to join my first live here. I had some technical glitches, but I promise you guys, this is a process, and I'm really actually happy that I made it because the entire week I'm like, I'm not gonna make this live. I think I'm not gonna make this live, but I'm happy I made it. Sandra, I believe you're still in Bali, if I'm not mistaken. Do check her platform. She's sharing everything about trading and also about her travels. I had the amazing opportunity to meet her when I was down in Playa del Carmen. We still have to do a collab together because we both talk finances, and I'm looking forward to it. And Natural LID. Can you talk about your homeowner's insurance when you rent room in your home and additional insurance or add to it your existing insurance? Yes. So if that's a very important point, and usually if you remember from you applying for insurance, they will ask you, right, if this is a place that you actually planning on renting or living in fully. So if at the beginning you were the only one actually living in the place, that's fine. But as soon as you're going to be having um, Airbnb in place in your house or like long-term tenants, you need to let your insurance know because we never know. Anything can happen, and if they come to find out that actually you are renting a portion of your house, in the house, a room or like the basement, that's something that they can use to deny your claim. If it's a separate unit, like my friend Evelyn, she rents a separate unit for Airbnb. It's again, you have to declare it, but that becomes, let's say if she was actually renting in long term to a tenant, that tenant will need to make sure that they have tenants insurance in place. You still need to tell your insurance about it, but at least there is like some a portion of the insurance that will fall onto the tenant's responsibility versus when you're actually renting a portion of your own house. So that's a very important point. Thank you for highlighting that. We don't want to be doing things, to save money and put ourselves in actually hot waters. So definitely, if you end up renting in your house a room, uh, like basement, anything, really call your insurance and be like, I'm thinking about this. How is that going to actually impact my premium? I just want to know. I need to let you guys know. Sometimes it might not even change anything to your premium. Sometimes it may. Again, it depends on the insurance company that you are working with. And it might be time for you to kind of like shop around and ask two or three different companies and see what they are saying. Some companies are more sensitive to some stuff than others. But at the end of the day, you just want to put yourself in a situation that if something was to happen, that you actually are comfortable calling your insurance company and telling them about it. From lack to legacy, will notify them increase your premium. It depends. I have to say. It depends because it depends exactly if let's say it's a duplex. I mean, if it's a duplex and then you're renting the other unit, you need to tell them. For sure, you need to tell them in any case. It will depend on the company. It will depend because they'll look at sometimes what is the the size of the portion of the house that you're renting versus the total size of the house. So then they'll see, what exactly are we talking about? Like what are the risks to them? They'll have to look at it and tell you. Then again, like I say, you do not have to stay with your same company that you have been actually that you have the insurance with. This is an opportunity for you to check with different companies and see what they are saying. And it may be time for you to change your insurance company because if that's really what you want, and another company is telling you that's not important to us, you can do whatever you want in your house as long as it's not the major, the entire house that you're renting and it's just a portion, it's the same thing for us. Then it might be an opportunity for you to actually change your insurance company. So very important point. Thank you for highlighting that. Natural LID. Um, did you need to upgrade your insurance for your driver rental? No, I did not have to. And so I live in what they call a condominium corporation. So I'm responsible really to everything that is inside the house. Everything that is outside the house is like the corporation responsibility. And things like it was just like parking, right? So what I could have is essentially maybe that person backing into my garage door or something like that. But it I did not advise my insurance company because that doesn't really fall into my own responsibility of it. I'm not sure if I if that makes sense. So because I'm in a condominium corporation, there's something that I'm responsible for, something that I'm not responsible for. And my condominium corporation also have some parking spots that they rent outside here. So it's kind of like fell into the same the same situation. So there's no change for me, and it was a minimal amount at the end of the day, and it was outside of the house. But let's say right now, I am considering in right now maybe renting my basement because it's empty since my young cousin have moved out of there. Uh, Now maybe if that's something I want to do, I'll need to call my insurance company and tell them I'm planning on renting my basement. How does that impact my insurance? Because then again, it's in the house. That person will be in the house with me, and they're not part of my family, I guess. So better be safe than sorry. You know, insurance companies, they will find any reason to deny your claim. You don't want to be in that situation. We never know, right? Because at the end of the day, when you call to do a claim, they don't ask you who's responsible for it. But in case there might be something, you just want to be sure. And the insurance laws vary from one state to the other, from one country to the other. Just do your due diligence and just make sure that everything is good on that front. And if you are here, I will also strongly suggest you check out Natural LID platform. I don't think I've learned so much about essential oils from anyone than her. I just didn't realize how powerful essential oils were for my wellness, my well-being. There are certain things that I do right now with essential oils that I didn't even think of doing before. Uh, Her platform is a gem. If essential oils is something that you would like to look into, and and even for everything that has to do with like our overall well-being, even if it's not entirely related to essential oil, but essential oils, that's her thing. So I strongly suggest you check her platform. So that's that's all I had for you today. I You know what? This is like I say, this is messy. I know this is messy, and I'm perfectly fine with it because it's a process. None of us started walking as we came into this world. I'm learning this. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be doing this again and again until I'm comfortable doing it because it's important for me to be able to connect with you guys live. As much as I enjoy reading your comments on my pre recorded videos, I want to step it up and being able to be here in this space with you, share information, answer questions. Hopefully, in the coming year, I will be able to have a dedicated time for my life that you guys will be aware of, and we can start building a community here on this platform around building wealth. And so I want to thank you, all of you guys who have made the time to actually come here uh, today, and also you guys who are watching the replay. I also want to remind you that on November 18th, we have the first edition of the Wealthy Black Women Summit that is happening. Is an online event. 10 Black women speakers are coming. They're experts in various fields when it comes to building wealth. I will actually have Sarah right there. She will be talking about real estate investment. I have Evelyn also that has accepted to come. She's a CPA, if you guys remember, and she will talk about how to make sure you pay yourself first when you are building a business. I am also presenting on investment. You guys know that's my job. That's my job. So I'll be talking about investment, but we're also going to be focusing on other aspects of wealth. So the physical wealth, right? So Adeline, she's a health and nutrition coach. She's amazing. She's actually my coach. Though, I need to go back to working out, but she's just amazing at what she does. So we're starting the day actually with a workout at 7 a.m. Eastern time. We're starting the day with a workout, and then we'll have the talk throughout the day until I believe 6. So 6 we'll have like the Zoom chats. to talk about different topics. And then at 7, we have a keynote speaker. And that keynote speaker, Grace Mayele, she's a branding strategist. I've heard her talk so many times, and I'm like, again, again. And I know you guys will love her. So if you watching this, I'm hoping it's not past November 18. Unfortunately, the early bird prices is gone because it was until October 17. But you still have some time to buy the tickets. So I'll put the link of to the event and the description below once I actually have a time to write the description here. And also, you guys, I want to remind you one more time that I'm a money coach. I enjoy helping Black women getting their coins right. I have done it myself. I've probably made so many mistakes. I'm going to be making more. I'm no perfect, but I can totally walk with you on your journey to build wealth. So make sure to book some time in my Calendly right there, and let's get the conversation started. So again, much gratitude for you guys to be here. My first live watcher. I think I'm gonna cry right after this live, so I need to close this right here. Thanks again for showing up and for supporting me in this journey. And I look forward to for this platform to bloom and to reach so many Black women out there wanting to build wealth. So until next time, keep on building wealth. Thank you so much.